Gabriel Manic, and welcome to a new episode of Talking Life. Today's episode is going to be about your relationship with fear. Guess what, guys? We all have relationships with fears. It's multiple, where none of us are actually monogamous in our relationships with fears, because we have plenty. We're polyamorous with fear. Wow, I think I might be the first person who's ever said that. Awesome, putting it in the books. So this past weekend, I went on a rafting trip in Tennessee, and this was something very exciting. I was looking forward to it, but also, I'll admit, I was really working myself up and getting really worried. Just, the worst things could happen. The day of that we were gonna go, I remember that morning I was waking up and man, I was thinking about all the worst things that could happen. I was actually thinking about it, visualizing like my feet getting caught under rocks, drowning, hit my head hitting a rock, or all these kinds of things. And I thought this was ridiculous. And a lot of my friends were, kind of just reassuring me. And one of the guys the night before, I think we maybe had too many, but he was telling us all these stories about when he was a guide and just the scary stuff. And obviously, what you focus on expands. So I was focusing on the stuff that was frightening. So the next day, as we're already on the van ride over to the station, where, man, I'm like, I can't allow this. Like, especially where I'm at in my life, what I've learned, the knowledge that I have now, like how I've already overcome other fears. I'm like, this can't happen. Like, not only just for me, but also the other people in my raft. Like, having that kind of energy, it could potentially screw things up. Who knows? So in that moment, I decided, as I was looking at just the river, looking at the trees, the sky, and everything like that, I focused on what I was grateful for presently in my life. The things that I have, the people I have in my life, the opportunities that I've been getting, and I thought about those things. Because when you're being grateful in the moment, fear and love and gratefulness can't live in the same place. It's not possible. So I thought of that, and then I started thinking about all the things I want to achieve, all the moments that I'm going to have and live for after this trip. To think like, okay, cool, nothing's gonna happen. You're gonna have a great time, and you're gonna be doing amazing things afterwards. So I did that, and I felt amazing. I felt so calm, smile on my face, looking at everybody around me, and just appreciating where I'm at in my life. That I'm here and I'm doing something scary. Sure, it's scary. I guess as humans we're not really supposed to be doing certain things like that, or at least our brains tell us that we're not supposed to. And I kept reminding myself, and I told other people on the trip that, when I said Bill Smith, Will Smith, before he, actually after he went skydiving, he said, on the opposite side of fear is total, complete bliss. And he's right. So but check this out, as prepared as I thought I was, when we were arriving at the spot, there's they had a dam, and there was this one big drop with all this white water just coming down. And I'm like, whoa, are we doing that? And my buddy Jared is like, yeah, that's the first drop. It's a number 5. And it was so funny, man. I started mildly freaking out. I was like, okay, no, screw you. No, man, you're lying, right? No, okay, no, hell no, nope. And then as we get out of the van and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, gonna do it. It's all right. It's gotta happen. All right, cool. So even though I had a mild freak out there, very funny mild freak out, I started already telling myself, I'm like, all right, screw that. Okay, you're not gonna allow yourself to get scared. It's gonna happen. You're gonna get through it, and it's gonna be awesome. So then eventually one of the guides was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And it was it was fantastic. Needless to say, as soon as I got in the water, man, it was just complete total bliss. It was incredible. It was so much fun. All of us were just anticipating it. Our guide was like, hey, are you cool with us doing the most extreme stuff and just going all out? and we're like, yeah, let's do it. And really, like, when you psych yourself up and you yell and you're like, yeah, like stuff like that, it gets you worked up. And it's like, all right, cool. You can't be fearful now, like, because you're pumped, you're ready to go. And it's crazy. I'm not on a river right now, but I'm feeling it, feeling the intensity. And yeah, it was just so great. All of us were laughing together, and man, we were soaked. And at one point, we got to like a lazy river part of it, and we were able to just like jump out and just float down the river for a nice little bit of time. And man, I remember shouting out to everybody. I was like, "This is life. Like, this is like, how can you not be grateful to like experience something so exciting, to survive, and then to enjoy just this quiet moment with friends, people that you're bonding with." And it's so beautiful. And I've said the word gratitude and being grateful so much, but it needs repeating, because again, in the last video, like I said, repetition is the mother of school. It's a school, yeah. But the more you are grateful and remind yourself to be grateful, it just, more of it comes out. So, and you find like the little things to be grateful for, like, oh man, I'm glad I felt that breeze as soon as I walked out of my house, So anyway, yesterday, as I was driving Ubers, because it's one of my part-time things, my first rider, I brought up to her, did a rafting trip, this and that, and she talked about her first time and how it was the worst experience. It was terrible, never doing it again, this and that. And I'm like, oh, but you're here, right? You survived, right? You got through it. And she's like, yeah. It was a 2-hour thing. I'm like, wow, so you got through all 2 hours. That's fantastic. She's like, no. I'm like, it's not fantastic that you got through it. I'm like, that's awesome. You made it through. She's like, yeah, but this next time, like we did it with like 20 people or something, and I'd rather have 20 people than 6. And then at one point she's like, yeah, maybe with 6 people on there, it's just too much. It's too crowded. I'm like, 6 people, the more people you have there, the safer it's going to be. Like, and plus you have your team with you. Like, that's awesome. So no matter what she was saying, where she was saying it was a terrible experience, I'm like, that is an awesome experience. Just kept like, not fighting, but just kind of like coming back, having these great comebacks where just letting you know, like, no, you did an awesome thing, and good job for like doing it. And guess what? You're probably going to do it again, because if you didn't overcome a fear the first time, if you don't try to overcome it the second time, or like try to do it again, to finally face it head on, face to face, and just let it go, you're just not going to grow. You're not going to grow. You're going to remain the same person as you were a year ago, 10 years ago. That's not good. That's not good. It's kind of random, but look at the plants outside. Look at the trees outside. They are forever trying to grow and become more. And we are like nature. So we by nature's standards, we need to continue to grow, to expand, become more. Just like, if whether you're religious or not, but I remember I think it was the parable of the talents, like God giving talents to certain people. Like God gave one person 1, the other 3, and maybe the other. I forgot how it ended up, but basically the point is like 1 talent should sprout out and give you more talents, because you choose to do one thing, you become great at that, and then it just flourishes into other areas in your life where these talents just become a part of who you are, and you become more valuable. And there's nothing wrong with becoming more valuable. And if anything, becoming more valuable makes you that much more, how can I say, you're a better choice for companies, for spouses, for partners, for all these kinds of things. Like, people want to be around you. People want to be you. They want to learn from you. And it's amazing how this all just comes from the topic of fear. But think about all these relationships you have with all these different fears. Think relationships that you've been in for too long. Isn't that like a cool analogy? That people that have been in relationships for way too long. Guess what? Fear, a specific fear, is living in that relationship. It's like, I've been in this thing for so long, I put so much time into it, that if I leave, it's like I wasted my entire life, or the last decade, or the last 2 years. It's like, but if you think about what you've learned, how you've been able to grow, learn from the other person, You didn't waste time. You just invested time in yourself and invested time into somebody else, into somebody else's growth as well. Because when you go to a relationship, you go to a relationship to give. It's always about giving. So, what are these fears you have? A lot of people have fears about, approaching somebody or taking chances on asking somebody out, not worrying about, if they say no, all right, they say no. Guess what? There's another bus in 15 minutes. It's, I used to be, one of my scarcity mindsets was, if I put all this attention on one girl, she's gonna want me eventually, and that's what we learn from society and from TV shows and movies, and it's just not real. It's not real. If you think you need to put all this attention on one person before you've even gone out on a date, and not put that same level of attention on yourself, where you can become a better person and then attract the right kind of person into your life. Man, you're gonna, I've known people where they've hung on to people for way too long, and nothing ever happened. But they're like, oh no, but eventually, I'll be their friend first, and it's all gonna work out. It does not happen. It does not happen that way, because how can I say? There's expectations. There's false expectations. That's why in a previous video I've talked about there's a difference between being nice and being good. Being nice usually comes with expectations, strings attached. But just generally being good, it's just so much more wholesome and right. So going back to the topic of fear, we are all going to have fears. And just like talents, new talents can come with talents, previous talents, and old fears can bring out new fears if you don't challenge and overcome those original fears. So, I challenge you to think about the fears that you've been hanging on to the last 20 years, if you're if you're in that age group, or heck, if you're in your 60s, if you're in your 80s and you're watching this right now, you are never too old to overcome something. And that's what I told the woman yesterday. I'm like, she brought up a couple of opinions and stuff, and she's like, well, that's probably just because I'm old, and that's just how it is. And I'm like, that's not an excuse. It doesn't matter how old you are. The beliefs that you have created, that you've now been starting to tell yourself, and these are your belief systems. Doesn't matter how old you are. You can get rid of them when you're 25. I'm sure that there are teenagers that, 17 years old, where because they're being exposed now to like Gary Vee and all these other influencers on social media, they're able to now hone in on their fears and just realize certain belief systems that aren't serving them right. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't. And if anything, if you're 80 and or 60 and you can change at that level, at that stage of life, just imagine the effect you can have on other people in your age range or your age group. When you see somebody else being able to accomplish something that you also want to accomplish or that you want to overcome, it becomes that much easier, because once we start seeing the proof, it's just like a lot of people, they love seeing so that they could believe. Seeing is believing. So, but these people, they were able to believe before the results came, believing before seeing. So, by you believing before you see it can help somebody see it to then believe it. And then it just, it's a ripple effect. So, analyze those relationships that you have with fear. And who knows, maybe at some point it'll come down to a monogamous relationship with fear. And I don't know. I think we're always going to have fears, because if one comes up, it just shows us, okay, there's another challenge. There's another mountain to climb that I'm going to. Very cliche, and that's okay. But yeah, with each one that comes up, it's like, cool, awesome. Guess what? You and I were going out, and by the end of the date, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen from it. Man, such analogies. I should really work on these prior to recording these. But hey, thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Have an awesome week.